Okay, I'm going to go on ahead and get started. So first, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Tony. It's Tony Neatco, and I am the coordinator. I'm the coordinator of the Deaf Visual Arts Festival. This festival, gosh, it is involved with so many different things. We have many different workshops that we're hosting, panels that we're hosting, ASL tours. And our hope is that you all will register for those, and then we'll be able to have more of those in the future. And that way you guys can register and view our webinars that are coming up. Also, make sure that you come and you stop by. Look at all the artists. Look at all the artists, their booths. We also have a flyer on our website, and you can take a look at all the artists' work. We have 30 different artists that you can look at on our website. That way you can see all their artwork. We have a wonderful collection of all of our artists and their pieces from all over the United States, as well as we have some international artists as well. I am really proud of all the efforts we've done and how diverse the festival is this year. It's been wonderful, and I'm really excited for you all, and I encourage you all to check it out. So I want to welcome you all to the Black, Deaf Art and Culture, our webinar for this evening. Now, this workshop could not be possible without our wonderful sponsors. So I would like to name a few of our sponsors, and I'd like to make that really help this evening be possible. First, Deaf Inc., RIT and NTID, Missouri Arts Council, MCDHH, the Missouri Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Gallaudet University, CSD, Sorensen, Convo, CamCon, that is an art museum of St. Louis. And last but not least, Midwest Lake Immersion Art Museum. All our wonderful sponsors, they especially have come together and sponsored this festival. We cannot thank them enough. So just a few housekeeping things I want to talk about. We have decided, well, excuse my dog in the background. We decided that the question and answer, that chat, we're going to hold that till the end after our presenter is done. If you do have any questions while our presenter is presenting, go on ahead. At the bottom, you'll see a Q&A. Go ahead and hit that and type your question. Then at the end, when it's time to ask the questions to Michelle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the questions to her. If you have any concerns or questions during this next hour and a half, you can always send me a message. That way we can communicate via chat. Without further ado, I want to go on ahead and welcome Michelle Banks. Please pull up your video, Michelle. I don't know where she is on the screen to me, but Michelle, she is here with me. And oh, Michelle, oh, she is a wonderful human. I have just been fond of her for quite some time, all the work she has done. And I know she'll go into more of her work and go into her bio a little bit later on. But first, I want to say that she is the co-founder. She's the co-founder and artistic director for a visionary, Vision Creative Arts. We call it VOCA. That is established in Washington, D.C., is where that is at. And you can always follow her. I've been following her for quite a few years now, and she is doing wonderful things, and so is the organization. I don't want to steal any more of her time from her. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and let her introduce herself. I hope you guys enjoy this panel.
Thank you so much, and hello. Thank you, Tony. Thank you for that nice, warm welcome. I'm very excited and I'm happy that you asked me. I wanted about providing this workshop for the Black Deaf Visual Arts culture. Yeah, and giving me the opportunity to talk about my work for over the 35 years that I've been involved in the theater, as well as the arts and culture. I would like to give a little information about my background. I was born and raised in Washington, D.C. I graduated from the School of the Deaf, MSSD. Then I also attended Gallaudet and graduated from there and went to the university in New York. I have received my bachelor's degree. And I also founded the Onyx Theater. I've enjoyed immensely the 11 years that I was involved with the Onyx Theater. I just feel like that was really my contribution to the community, you know, to give back and offer my skills to them. And it was also a personal dream of mine. So I decided to go ahead and do that. I moved to LA and I just followed my dream. I was involved in the Deaf Theater there and several other theater projects. And I also did my first TV show. Yeah, and it was a food show. It was on a variety of foods. That was in 2007. But then I moved back to DC for a short time um, after being there. And then I've been here ever since. Yeah, so I've done a lot of teaching in theater and ASL. I was involved in various projects. And around 2018, I was at Gallaudet. Their theater department asked me to direct a play, A Raisin in the Sun. So I did that. And I noticed just the variety of Black deaf actors that were underrepresented. And because I noticed that, I really kind of determined I really wanted to do something. This is my hometown. So I kind of felt, you know, like responsible to try to do something. So that was when I set up VOCA, the Visionary Arts program, and I represented Black Deaf. Well, not really just Black, but also BIPOC individuals on stage and as well as on the screen. And so that's kind of a synopsis of my background. And the presentation today is about Black deaf culture, how you see it, how it's represented in the arts through theater, etc. So I'm following my dream. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and share my PowerPoint at this time. Okay. So the workshop is about Black deaf arts and culture. What is Black deaf arts? When you see that, when you hear that word, how do you visualize that? What is Black deaf art? I mean, we know what art is in general, but then when you really narrow it down and focus on the Black culture, what is it? This really is a reflection of our own world, our perspective of who we are as as Black artists. It's not really necessarily about the color of your skin, It's about your culture, your identity, how you view life. It's also about our dreams and our expressions, as well as our experiences. Um, Black deaf people, their life experiences are just varied. We all grew up differently. We all experienced challenges and struggles. We also experience successes in our life, you know? So yeah, we bring that to the arts. And we can use the art to represent some of that, some of our perspectives and views. I mean, also, you know, racism and oppression, social justice, um, and in the world as a whole. And that's a part of that, and that change in the world. We are a part of that. And so, yeah, we represent that in our art. And so, what do we do about that today? You know, how do we combat that? How do we approach it? We have our culture, we have our language, you know, from various cultures, white culture, Asian cultures, Hispanic culture, how we live our life every day, our customs, and as well as our language. I mean, we express it through ASL, but it's kind of different. Yeah, we actually use BASL, Black American Sign Language. I know sometimes that's a hot topic right now, but really, when you notice, BASL is actually a language that's been in practice. And so Black deaf art is represented that way. Now, I want to talk about Black deaf culture. Like, what is that? I mean, it represents the community, right? African American, Black, and deaf. Some people prefer to be called African American, some people prefer to be called Black. It's their identity. Deaf, deaf also includes hard of hearing. So we represent that culture, my culture, their culture, how we move, how we sign, how we dress, and also how we come together, things like that. Our beliefs, our customs, our traditions, you know, our behaviors, as well as, of course, our language. The arts, sometimes we will use African things to represent us. Yes, things from our past, from our heritage, from our families, and we will incorporate that in our art. Now, in terms of movement, there's dance, of course, there's hip hop, rap, you know, other kinds of dances and body movements and how we sway. Yeah, how we move to the beat, all of that. That's a part of Black deaf culture. Now, what is Black American Sign Language? That is a language that most deaf Americans use throughout our community and our environments. It's our way of communicating, like, hey, what's up? That's our way of communicating. And we've developed our own codes, so to speak. You know, like when we do something, we have this kind of movement. We know what each other mean by that. that's also connected within our community. Now with BASL, it's really about like, well, the question is really, how did we find that? How did it develop? It really developed during segregation times. Because you had, of course, the Black schools, well, are colored, as they were called back then. So you had the colored children. And then you also had the white school for the deaf. They were separate. So in the Black deaf schools or the institutes, yeah, we developed our own language. And sometimes we had a hearing teacher who signed some, yeah, but yeah, we had our own language that we communicated with within our group. Or within our race, or in our dorm. I'm sorry, in our dorm. Yeah, we would sign to each other in our own language. It was not really the way that we spoke in the classroom or at home. And it was probably a challenge for other people to understand the communication at home. That was a frustrating issue growing up in a deaf school, where we could sign to each other and be understood. And then when we went home, it was different. So then we would go back to the dorm. And again, our language evolved even more. And that's how BASL was developed. Also through generations, Black deaf people and their families, third, fourth, fifth, sixth generations, all, they signed at home. Some didn't sign and some did. But the language evolved through generations. And BSL has evolved as well. I've noticed when I can think about BASL in other language, I notice how, yes, we can communicate that way. That is a part of us. It's ingrained in us. It's ingrained in our music, in theater, in arts. It's how we express ourselves in our language and our culture. It is our identity. We're Black and we're proud that we're Black and deaf. And so that's one of the uses, that's one where BASL is is what we use. As far as the theater, I was the founder and the artistic director of the Onyx Theater in New York. I've also been an actor, a producer, I'm a director, as well as a playwright, a choreographer, a director of artistic American Sign Language. I've been a consultant, and now I am currently the co-founder of the artistic director of Visionaries of the Creative Arts, VOCA, in Washington, D.C. And I'm quite proud of myself for that. I've accomplished a lot, I feel like, in the 35 years I've been in the industry. I would like to explain a little bit more about my work. I mean, yes, I am an artist. But I see myself first as Black. That is my identity. I'm Black deaf. I'm deaf Black. That's who I am. Why is Black first? Because I was born hearing and then I became deaf. So with my family, they would listen to music. My mom learned to sign, I think maybe when I was around 2, they found out that I was deaf. And they did research to discover Gallaudet University. So they took an ASL class and people from Gallaudet came to our home and they worked with my parents and my brother. So I grew up in a signing house. And my identity, of course, is Black first for that reason. Second, my identity is deaf. That's how I identify myself, is Black and deaf. And so that is a compilation of all of my work.
Okay, now I'm going to explain a little bit about my work and especially some of my writing I've done. This has to be one of the most influential jobs I've ever done. So, Reflections of a Black Woman, I wrote this as a one-woman show. Now, understand, I am probably one of the only people who has ever written something like this or performed a one-woman show. Eva Blake, yes, she's done that, but to actually write a play, have it published, and then perform it. Now, with this, Reflections of a Black Deaf Woman, what is this about? So this is about relationships between a deaf mother with her daughter, who is also deaf. Now, within the play, both mother and the daughter. So the mother is a first generation and the daughter is a second generation. So out throughout the play, seeing the development of their relationship, seeing both of them, their experiences are both different. Their journeys have been different. The mother's is more of a grassroots journey, and the daughter had a more sophisticated education, I would say. And really, the daughter, the mother wanted to have the best education for her daughter she possibly could. So she really tried to foster that education for her daughter. So throughout the play and duration, you see they go through a lot of trials, tribulations, successes, but the play, it goes out and it talks about the experiences and what they face, the different issues they go through. Honestly, women, it doesn't matter if they are deaf or if they're not. Everyone goes through stuff. This is talk about love. Rape is mentioned in the play, abortion, having self-esteem issues, going through that. So this play has a lot of topics that a lot of people while watching this play will think, wow. So this play is 90 minutes. It's set in LA. It is wonderful, wonderful. Over when I did this in LA, I did it for about 6 weeks. I performed it for 6 weekends. And I loved incorporating Black deaf culture in this. During the play, I was able to show some signs. I'll even be able to show you during this presentation a few different videos of my work too. So as you can read on the side, it explains a little bit about this. So it says, when I moved to LA in 2001, and I saw that there was an opportunity to showcase my talent as an actor and a writer. 2002, I received the Christopher Reeve Acting Scholarship to produce and act in a one-woman show. Reflections of a Black Deaf Woman is a show. Michelle Mianba Productions produced the first production. Now, what is that? So that's really my name. So my name is Michelle, and then my middle name is Ania, and then Banks. So taking that all together, I decided to shorten it as Michelle's MIANBA Productions. Again, this is a non-for-profit, but for-profit is definitely different from a non-for-profit. So I did this. This was my production. It was directed by a wonderful person. He is actually hearing himself, but he's a wonderful signer. He's a wonderful director, person. And at that time, really in that area, he was able to direct my play. So his name was Jeffrey Anderson Gunter, and then it's performed by Carlise Brook. So that person was an interpreter, but then she wanted to pursue acting, and she was my voice during the play. Let me go back in the slide. There we go. To finish the slide out, in 2006, the production company and the Victoria Theater Center co-produced the second production in Burbank, California. So we decided to expand the run. from what we did. And we decided to partner, like I said, with this theater company because we wanted to have more runs of this show. This again was in Burbank, California. Oh, I cannot express my gratitude to the Victorian Theater Company for that opportunity. They gave me the opportunity to really showcase my talent. I had an audience of both people who were deaf and who were hearing. So at that time in 2006, the person who voiced for me was Mama T, and that that production had live music. It had a drummer. The reason I wanted to add the drumming was for more of an effect for the audience. That is another representation of Black deaf culture, how music can be incorporated with this, how you can feel the vibration from the drum. Because we do so much movement. And I'll even be able to show you one scene from it's Bob Marley is what I'm going to show you. The little video, we all know him. He is a famous reggae artist. He is from Jamaica, and oh, I idolized him. And so I will tell you this story. As a little girl, so my character's name in that story was Azalea. So I told a story in the play about Bob Marley just because I idolized him. He was like my idol. So I'll show you the clip from the performance. Let me get to it. Okay, almost there. Okay, I'm gonna try to see if you guys can see this. Hopefully you can. Give me 1 second. There you go, I got my sound. All the people that just on drum up, but I joined in with the vibe. I get with him, yeah man. When it's time for the music to stop, time to go home, the people, they want more and more. Bobby up on stage, he get out of that commotion though. He grabbed my hand and we run far, far. The people be chasing after me. Oh, we run till it's just we two. We spy all around, you know. We got panic. We're looking for a secret haven, but nobody find us, so bother we. We look at the beautiful night. We see the stars just sparkle, sparkle so. We arrived on the other side of the island in Montego Bay. We've been so happy. We jump off the rock and we see the beautiful bay with the moon just sparkling, reflecting all throughout the night. Oh man, we go for a swim and we swim for hour upon hour. Oh, the water is so warm, so yummy. We catch the fish and we cook it by the fire. Oh, we chat, Pop plays guitar, and we dance all night. We fry plantain, ackee, mango, and we drink coconut water. We see the moon go down and the sun be coming up. We see the orange, yellow rays
joint with Bob is gone. Oh, I was mad. I want to tell that fool for messing up my time with Bob. I knew him from my neighborhood, but I don't remember his name at all. Oh, that fool better not start no stuff with me, no man. I bosh his head in, messing up my private time with Bob. What I been saying? They look just alike. Same dreadlocks, skin all glowing and looking like Jesus. Maybe he and Bobby brother. Oh, I check him out, you know. Oh, he got to be my brother. Hey, baby girl, what's up? What's up? Oh, he been silent to me. What? I asked him, is you there? Hey, baby girl, of course I'm there. You see me silent, don't you? Oh, yeah. Oh, but that Bob, I know over there, he be a little jealous, a little restless, you know. I don't want that silly boy. I tell him better leave us alone. We ain't want no problem. He laugh at me like he's some chimp. He jump up and down. Oh. Hey, girl, what you tripping about? Who is Bob anyway? He ain't speaking our language or something? Oh, well, wait a minute. I know you from my neighborhood. A man know your name. Say, why you know me? Let me tell you something. I am Dan Marley. Say what? Say what you say? Your last name is Marley? Miley? Yeah, girl. What's up? You ain't feeling me? Oh, yeah, ma'am. I know. You know Bob Marley, the famous reggae musician. Yeah, Bob music. Oh, yeah, man. You two look like brothers. Oh, he looked at me like I was a leper or something. Hey, look, hey, girl. I don't know what you're talking about. I ain't got no brothers, alright? Well, my mommy telling me that Bob, he got one or two brothers, and you two look just alike. Hey, look, baby girl, I don't know.
All right, that's a clip I wanted to show you guys. Now, reflections of a Black deaf woman. That is also the reflection of the mother, Ms. in the birth scene. That's another clip I want to show you. So how I distorted that was the mom, I made sure that her character was very unique. She had specific features to her character. Now this is a little girl. This is little Azalea in the Bob Marley scene. So I wanted the people to see how much I idolize Bob, and how much the little girl idolized Bob. And it's interesting because it was so confusing because the brother in that also really looked like Bob Marley. So I wanted to add that too. So reflections of a Black deaf woman. A lot of people ask me, is this story based on your life? But it's not. What I based this story on was what I have seen, what stories people have shared with me. I took all that and I wrote it in this play. Yes, it is about Black deaf women and their collective experiences, and I wrote that down. So that is my personal work as an artist. That reflects me. Now I want to move on to this. This is my nonprofit, VOCA. I'll go into this, the Visionaries of the Creative Arts. This is a one-of-a-kind and newly formed in July of 2019. So where I live in DC, I just noticed there were not many actors and actresses who were deaf of color. They I needed that in the home. They needed places for training where they could go and they could sharpen their tools, sharpen their skills. Nayati Paxton, that is another person who was a co-founder, signer. That person's been involved in theater for many, many, many years. Now, that person does use their voice. They have a voice director, a voice actor, does lots of things. So that person is also very knowledgeable on all things. So I had told him, I said, hey, I have this idea, but I cannot do this alone. This is something I cannot do by myself. This is a lot of work to make this happen. So I said, now, if this person agrees to join me, then let's do it. Let's make this nonprofit. So we did. We made it happen and we created VOCA. Very, very excited about this. This is actually our 3rd season. So we are thrilled that we've had so many seasons. The mission of our company is we want to show deaf and hard of hearing artists who are BIPOC to collectively create, collaborate, and showcase their culturally distinct work through a range of performing arts genres, including theater, dance, poetry, film, and storytelling using American Sign Language, ASL. Now, the deaf and hard of hearing BIPOC community and its artists have been overlooked and underrepresented in mainstream and deaf culture. This is a form of social injustice that we, VOCA, stand to redress. That is something we have to change. We have to have more representation. So since I established this, so really VOCA, the first production we're supposed to do is supposed to be Rising in the Sun. It's supposed to be happen last year, but because of COVID, fortunately, we were not able to do that. We had to shut down for a little bit. So we thought, what are we going to do? We can't just do nothing. We have to continue being activism in our community. What are we going to do? So we decided to host a virtual panel. So we got quite a few different deaf BIPOC artists, and we were able to have a discussion about what they go through, oppression, and what they enjoy about their business and what they don't. Now, we were able to do 2 brief productions. So the first one, it was written by Paul. He is a very, very famous person in the early 1900s. We were able to do his performances. I believe it was shown in the 1880s, 90s. That person unfortunately died very young, but they wrote a beautiful poem. Beautiful poem. But we were the production that he wrote. There's so many things that he went through. So with this production, what's really important is that we wanted to match this. So what had happened back in the day still happens to this day. No matter the years that go by, it still happens. So with that, I decided I want to showcase that poem and showing, hey, the years have gone by, but this still happens to this day. It doesn't matter. The fact that we're deaf and we're Black, we go through the same thing. People who are hearing and deaf, they go through the same things as well. I believe, okay, yeah. Yes, it was different. So at that time, it was different for deaf and hearing artists, but I'll be sure to show you a video. And the production was called We Wear a Mask is what I wanted to showcase. Okay. Now, this is 14 minutes.
Perfect.
mask that grins and lies. It hides our cheeks and shades our eyes. This debt we pay to human guile, with torn and bleeding hearts we smile and mouth with myriad subtleties.
Why should the world be overwise in counting all our tears and sighs? Nay, let them only see us while we wear the mask.
We smile, but oh great Christ, our cries to thee from tortured souls arise. We sing, but oh the clay is vile beneath our feet and long the mile. But let the world dream otherwise. We wear the mask.
And that was Voca's first project, our first work. I believe that it had just a powerful impact on the community. And every time I see it, I just feel inspired. And that was my contribution at that time, and I felt like I was the only one that was doing that kind of thing, and we put it all together, and I feel like it was just wonderful. With the time that I have left, I would like to show you just a short piece of A Raisin in the Sun, just that video. How much time do I have left? Well, I will go ahead and show it to you. I'll just show you a short part of it. Just a short piece. Yes. I have actually 3 different scenes. They're clips from the full version of A Raisin in the Sun. 2 that I would really love to show you with the mom and the son. Waller and Bo. Let me see. This is the last scene.
Mama, you trust me like that?
Hey, I ain't never stopped trusting you. And I ain't never stopped loving you. Never stopped. Gonna move on up a little higher. Gonna meet my...
Right, where Willie, man?
You ain't with me, man.
Oh, all right, well, you right on time. You right on time. Come on, come on. Come on, have a seat. Come on. Sit down. Tell me what's going on. Ain't nothing wrong, is there?
Well, let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I got to tell you how it was. I mean, first, I'm gonna tell you how it was all the way. I mean, about the money I put in.
Well, what about the money you put in?
Well, it wasn't much as we told you, me and Willie. Sorry, Walter. I got a bad feeling about it. I got a real bad feeling about it.
Man, what are you telling me this for? Tell me what happened in Springfield.
Oh, Springfield. Me and Willie was going down Springfield and you know, spare some money. I mean, we gonna spread some money around so as we wouldn't have to wait so long for the liquor license. I mean, everybody said that was the way you had to do.
Man, what happened down there?
I'm trying to tell you, Walter.
Tell me, goddammit. What's the matter with you?
I didn't go to Springfield yesterday.
Why not?
Because I had no reason to.
Man, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact that when I got to the train station yesterday, at 8 o'clock in the morning, like we planned, man, Willie never did show up.
What? Why? Well, where is he? Where is he?
That's what I'm trying to tell you. I don't know. I waited 6 hours. I waited 6 hours. I waited and I waited 6 hours. I went to his house. I waited 6 hours. I waited, man. Willie gone.
Willie gone? Gone? Gone where? Oh, man, you mean he went by himself? Yeah, sure. Maybe he didn't want too many people in on this business down there. Well, you know how Willie got his ways. Maybe you was late yesterday. Yeah, you went down there. He went down there without you. Yeah, maybe he's probably at your home right now. Yeah. Oh man. Oh, maybe he's sick. He's somewhere. He's got to be somewhere. We got to find him. We got to find him. We got to.
What's wrong with you, Walter? When the cat take off with your money, he ain't gonna leave you no road maps.
No, Willie. No, don't do it. Please, man. Please, not with that money. Oh, God. Don't let it be true, man. I trusted you. Man. I put my life in your hands. Man, that money is made out of my father's flesh.
And so that the good news at A Raising in the Sun, it will be back in full production next year in April in 2022. I am so excited to bring it back again. Yes, I want to do this full production again. I'm looking forward to it. So look out for that information. And so moving on, some other work that Boca's done I want to share with you also, but I just want to explain about some deaf Black authors who have worked. This one is Queen Forever. Her name is Sheena. She's from New Jersey. She's traveled around quite a bit. Of course, that's me, Michelle, the director, a director of several plays, A Raisin in the Sun, and various other plays. This is Alexandria Wales. She is a director of artistic sign language, and she's also done quite a bit of work with DASL, sign language and stage productions. There was the movie Coda. She was involved with that. She was one of the people who worked with them on ASL. Of course, CJ, an actor from California. His movie had a big impact on the theater worldwide. And then Avatar 2, he'll be involved in that. Avatar 3. Very excited about that. And then, of course, this is DJ. Very skilled in New York and Boston. He's known, he travels extensively. Hear No Evil is one of his productions. You'll see more on him in the future. Shaw Richardson is an amazing cartoonist. Yes. He's a great depiction of the Black representation of the Black deaf culture. And his art is phenomenal. Fred Beam, he is also a director and an actor, but you may know him from his art. He's very skilled in drawing. He has different paintings with Black death that are just precious. So Sunshine 2.0, he's the director for that. Antoine Hunter, he's a dancer as well as a choreographer. He's from California, highly skilled in his profession.
All right, next we have Marvin. Marvin O'Brien. He's a wonderful ASL song performer. Wonderful. So over in Times Square, New York, you know how there's all those billboards on 42nd Street? What happened is it was about midnight. Midnight Train is what was performed. That song was from about the 80s. And seeing Mervin's performance was outstanding. Outstanding. Next, we have T. Flordery, an ASL poet. She herself has written a lot of poetry. She was actually in one of my productions. I can't remember, I believe it was several years ago. And she did a beautiful poem in ASL. Oh, I like to showcase her work quite a bit. Yvonne Black, great ASL storyteller, performer as well, and an actress as well. Oh, wonderful. She lives here in the DC, Maryland area. She also has done a few shorts. They're one-woman shows she's done. She's in a group that is called I Do Not Hear That Color. That is the group. They perform in Gallaudet, and they've been performing all over since the 90s. Bob Daniels is a writer and a director for their performances. So he directs all of those performances basically off of different life experiences. He writes them, and then her group has been performing them since the 90s. Oh, wow, a Snipe. Rapper, musician, actor. He himself actually has about 2 or 3 albums. He has one called So What? He also had the honor of signing the national anthem at the Super Bowl. I believe it was this past year. So what he's doing is great. Next, we have Nakia Smith. Nakia is a social media influencer, has quite a few followers on TikTok. She represents Black ASL. She also is the 5th or 6th generation. I mean, this girl can sign. On TikTok, she goes into a lot about BASL and what that looks like. And so she does her best to show that in her videos. I mean, she has millions, thousands, millions of followers. I mean, she has a young crowd that's following her, and she's doing great stuff. For example, what we sign for Curious, usually it's the F hand shape on your chin. BASL, we sign it at a 5 hand shape on the side. Pregnant, we sign that differently. Someone who dresses very sophisticated, we have a different sign for that. I mean, she showcases all that to her followers. Andrew Robertson, photographer. Oh, the images he can capture, wonderful. If you can see, the second photo is a woman who is currently in labor. He was able to photograph that. And this is showing a mother who is in the process of giving birth. I mean, just take a look at the photos that he have. I mean, it's amazing. It'll blow your mind. Storm Smith is located in California, but does go to DC, goes to New York, but her home is in LA. She actually just got done with something called I Am Next. Now, with that, it features a lot of so it features a lot of Black American Sign Language. So there's a lot of people who are deaf and Black who really take on and are incorporated in her films because she wants to showcase them. You see people who put their hands up. You know, the movement, hands up, don't shoot. I'm Next is about that. I mean, watching that, it'll give you goosebumps. It's powerful. Next, we have J. Austin Williams, a playwright. You might not know who this is, but Jay wrote a beautiful play that he directed. It's called Not So Quiet. Now, this production, oh gosh, it takes place in the 1980s, I want to say. Oh, beautiful work, beautiful work. So there's a teacher in the play, teaches in a small school in Pennsylvania. But he himself actually teaches in a small school in Pennsylvania, but I still encourage him to do playwriting. I mean, talented human. Next, we have Dr. Carolyn McCaskill. So the book Hidden Treasures of Black ASL was written by her. A lot of people aren't sure what Black ASL was, so she decided to write a book on it. She also is a director of the Black Studies Center. That's over in Gallaudet. We are thrilled about her project with that. As you can see on this slide, I have listed so many more amazing Black deaf artists. I cannot name them all, but these are just a few. We have Jade. I mean, look at all the names I have on this. There's so many. I wish I could have added them all, but I couldn't. It's impossible to name every single Black deaf artist out there. So with that being said, let me check something real fast. And to end my presentation, I just want to say that's it for me.
I have learned so much. Thank you so much. So what I'm going to ask, what I'm going to do is go ahead. There's a few questions from the audience that I'm going to ask. First, we have plenty of ASL books. Lots of books on French, but there's only one. Is there only one book for Black ASL? Yeah, and that book is recent, Hidden Black Treasures of ASL. It is the only one. There's just not enough research being done to put more books out there. So Dr. McCaskill is also working to develop more. Yes, but there's not enough. They have a center, a Black Deaf Center, And they're working. Yeah, they're doing some work to try to rectify that.
I look forward to seeing those come out.
Me too.
Really, here's my question. Someone else has to say this, but who would you say is your inspiration?
Okay, really, my inspiration, Cicely Tyson. Definitely Cicely Tyson. I followed her, I think, since I was maybe 19. You know, she is just a strong Black woman as well as an actor. She did a movie back in the 1970s. And I noticed her and I questioned who she was as an actor. And I said, you know, I want to become like her. I was really inspired. That was actually the reason that I became an actor. In fact, I actually met her in person on my birthday in 2006. A director brought her to his show, Tavis Smiley. I was on there and he actually invited Cicely Tyson to come. So yeah, Tavis Smiley, he said, I want to introduce you to Cicely Tyson. And I was in awe. Yes, absolutely. And I did let her know she was the reason that I became a director.
Okay. We actually do have another question. Do there any Black deaf artists class? Do you offer workshops or classes?
That is a good question. We did have a summer camp, a deaf program for children. And we also had one for deaf BIPOC as well, an artist. But in general, that's something that I really kind of hold in the back of my mind, that we really do need to have a black deaf class. An art class specifically for Black deaf culture. Is that what you're talking about? No. Do we have that? No.
They seem like they want the class with more training.
For artists or actors? Oh, yes. Boca does provide training. Absolutely. Yes. Training and development we do. Because we like to expand on the program. We'd like to make it, for filmmakers and choreographers. But at this time, Boca is partnering with Deaf Spotlight. Yes. And we have like an audition workshop for directorate.
Oh, wow. So Deafing is also for the visual art test. So they can mention skills, and we also do this for spotlight. So we've been doing the best to recruit people to do the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Just the video that you just showed, where can people go to watch the full version of the video? And are you able? We'll speak on another time, but maybe you can directly send me, and I can share the information with everyone the presentation.
Yes, sure.
I have a question.
Yes, I do have a DVD. Yes, I do. I have a DVD with the full version. The full production, yes, of the 90 minutes. I have it. It's in voice, it's signed, it's captioned, it's full access. I will leave that.
We have different collections of artwork from deaf artists. We have lots of different showcases of different artists in the black, white. So will the black deaf artists feel offended at all? Is it racist?
No.
Or showcasing all this?
No, if you buy their art, that means that you're actually supporting them. So no, they want to sell their work. So no, that's not a concern. No, go ahead. No, support our work. Buy it. Yes. You know, come to our shows, purchase tickets. You know, that's part of being part of our community.
Like,
Yes. That is correct.
Just checking to see if I had missed any questions that were related to. So does anyone else participant have any questions regarding to BIPOC, BASL, conferences? I'm just putting that out there. There's something to think about.
Yeah. That would require a lot of collaboration and partnership, yes, but it's possible.
I do think a lot of people are really inspired by the work
Yes.
the work that Luke is doing. And that would be really, I think we have a lot of participants for
Perfect.
we have a lot of people comment. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh, goosebumps the whole time I'm listening.
I appreciate that.
I see a lot of people responding. Wow. Okay, well, I guess that's all the questions that we have.
Okay,
Any
great.
last words before you wrap up?
We would love your support. Definitely feel free to talk to us, approach us, ask questions about our culture. We want to share with you. You know, that means that we would be forming a connection.
Thank you so much for being a part of our Deaf Visual Arts.
You are welcome.
Really
Thank you.
appreciate your time.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Again, to our audience members, thank you all so much for watching this presentation. We want to thank our two interpreters for voicing our presentation, about all the work they've done. Wonderful job for the two interpreters. As well as our captionists. Oh, thank you for all the work you've done for this presentation. We want to thank all of our sponsors. They are the reason we're able to host awesome workshop. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Good evening.
Have a good night.
Don't forget to go look at DEF's website to look at the Deaf Visual Arts Festival page to see all the collections of the Deaf.
Bye-bye.